So, my name's Andrzej. This is part philosophy and a practical framework to take all this inspiration and harness it and please do something with it. This is about the finding nirvana in the noise of big data and big tech. And my strategic partner, Mem, came up with a great metaphor of what it sounds like to go from big data to the right data. It's the sound of a tuning orchestra. It's this purposeful cacophony. It's not really music. It's creativity. It's humans blending and learning from each other. And the coolest bit is actually the moment when it just goes really quiet. Conductor one comes up, and you're prepared to do something. And that's when the facts and the figures crystallize into an insight, into a revelation, something you can play with. And the energy just wells up inside because you have to play. You have to do something. You have to create something. And from that moment, you go from this silence, and from all that noise of data, you go into this magical thing. You go into nirvana. All right? This need to build and break stuff, to try things you didn't think you could do, but you know you should do. The insights tell you what you need to do. It's just whether or not you're brave and bold enough to do it. And that's what I love about my job. When I come to work, that's what I'm looking for. I want goosebumps. I want bold and brave people who are willing, if I give you that insight, go, run, do awesome things, change the world, make people smile. And at the end of the day, it's shocking that I have to even say this because there's this ever-pressing debate that every often comes up, which is data versus creativity. Technology is creating, and I'm like, oh, that's so 2013. We can move on from this because data sometimes is the enemy. If you flood your creative with ones and zeros in Excel, you will kill creativity. But also the other problem with data being an enemy, it lets you know when you mess up. So you have to be brave enough to want to learn from the ones and zeros. So I think this is a totally false debate. It's just the fact that everyone's obsessed about, oh, is your big data bigger than the next person's? Or is your dashboard shinier? Or are you using this new cool tech? And that's a shame because behind all these ones and zeros is, in fact, a human story. And the reason why that's important is because the people who are going to do cool stuff with these types of things, they ain't data scientists. They're not engineers like me. They're creative people who want to build things. So you have to convert the ones and zeros into human stories. That's the key. That's the art. And the thing I love about that is it does a couple things. It allows us to honor intuition and gut. That's what creators were scared of when you said data. They're like, well, I feel things. Well, great, let's test that. Let's play with that. And so the hunches get transformed and be forged into insights, and lastly, formed into inspiration you can do things with. So I'm going to get to some pragmatic things so you can kind of go away from this and network and have a framework to put this all together so you actually would go do something tomorrow with this. So the first maxim is you got to be execution agnostic. If you want a one-dimensional insight, ask for a one-dimensional outcome. I need an amazing TV campaign. Good. I'm happy for you, all right? However, if you want to learn anything bigger, if you want to change product, process, all those other P's in play, you got to give up the execution. The execution will come. The second bit is you got to practice data yoga. All right? The worst thing that happens in my world is someone finds up a new shiny data set, and they're like, oh, this data set, it's shiny, it's new. And I'm like, you need all these data sets. Sometimes Twitter's awesome. Sometimes weather data is awesome. You have to be flexible and fluid across those data sets because they reveal different aspects of the human story. And you got to be action-orientated. I did not start Freemavens to become a research agency. I don't want to be a PowerPoint factory. It goes, look how clever I am. Here's a cool graph. Here's an insight. And then it collects dust in your drawers. I don't want any of that. I want you to build something with it. And so I'm always asking my clients, what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to make? What questions do you need to answer? We've gotten crazy questions, like what disruptive startups should we buy in the yogurt category in these 7 markets? I've had people ask us, what's the taxonomy of a mother's guilt when it comes to me time? Or no joke, what dark chocolate lovers in Turkey versus milk chocolate? And these questions fuel the brief. So they've been small questions and big questions, some of them transformative, some save the world, some just make you laugh. All right? My middle insight is one of my favorite ones. It was a product design about the truth that you don't actually ever lose your card, but you keep canceling your card, but it's in the other genes. Can't you just pause the card? 4 years ago, we came up with that insight. So we're going to give you a framework. So in your goodie bags, you come home, you have this little thing, a little aid card, and it's the weirdest little hack to take the most out of all the cool things you've seen today. It stands for AAID, Accomplish, Action, Insight, Data. It's the strangest way of harnessing all this stuff without having to talk about the data and the tech till the end. So first thing you do is you focus on what you want to accomplish. Super simple. Give me a verb, like cool verbs like inspire, grow, transform, and then an outcome with a metric. That's all you gotta do, step one. What do you get your performance review on? Give me that thing. And then once you decide what you want to accomplish, you have to decide who are the heroes you need, because it's normally more than the people in this room. You gotta figure out who's going to act, who's gonna be in the band. All right, so if you want to change the product, get the new product person. You want to change the social media campaign, get that person in. The best bit about bringing them in, they become invested in those future insights and often add to the budget. So now suddenly, you haven't talked about insights and data yet. You've just talked about people and ambition. So when you finally get to the insights, everyone's like cuddly and kumbaya, because then they go, hey, I like you. You know what? I don't know anything about the consumer. I think our product may suck. You know? And then you get asked these great questions about what do you not know? What is the thing you wish you knew? Where's a bit of gut instinct, curiosity that you want to explore? And ironically, you get that done, and at the very, very end of all this, then you talk about the data and the tech. Because normally there's like a minimal viable data amount that you can set up your insight architecture on and build from there. So you don't have to boil the ocean. So all I'm going to ask you to do, when you get your goodie bags and you have drinks, meet all these cool people who've spoken, think about the aid in your head, and do that. Go, what do I want to do? What do I want to act on? What insights do I need? And we'll sort out the data and tech stuff afterwards. So from the noise, you get a little bit of nirvana. Thank you very much.